Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining this discussion about Java certifications. If you are joining this talk, I guess you are interested in taking one of these certifications in the near future. Which are the most important certifications you should think of in terms of Java technologies? And tips and tricks, of course, for getting your certification. How should you study for the certification? What should you think of? How should you tackle the questions in the certification exam? There are a lot of things to discuss and a lot of details you will sometimes read from the books, sometimes you will get with experience, but it's much better if you hear them from someone who has, I would say, a lot of experience with getting certifications, because long time ago when I took my first certification, I think it was the Sun certified Java programmer at that time, so it was actually a long time ago before Oracle acquired Sun Microsystems. For a long time I have constantly updated my certifications, so I know how the exams tend to change in terms of which questions are added and stuff like that. And of course, when we discuss about Java certifications, we don't discuss about one certification, even though in general, when you say Java certification, most likely people think about the Oracle certified programmer, but you also have Spring certifications, and Spring framework is pretty important today. So obtaining a certification from VMware, which is actually the pivotal certification, will boost your career and will help you, especially if you are at the beginning of your career. I will share a lot of titles and materials that I recommend you for studying when you want to obtain a certification. We mostly think about the Oracle Certified Programmer, which is the OCP, now version 11. From what I know, starting with 2017, when Java started version 9 and started to have that long-term supported version way of delivering the Java versions, the certifications started to also be only created for the long-term supported version. So OCP 11 is now the latest certification in terms of OCP, because Java 11 is the latest long-term supported, and prior to this it was the OCP 8. I will discuss about some changes that were recently introduced in case of the exam, because prior to the OCP 11 you had two exams you should have attended to get the OCP. It was the OCA, the Oracle Certified Associate, and the OCP, Oracle Certified Programmer, but at this time you no longer have two exams, it's only one, and you pass that exam, you get the OCP 11 certification. Most likely the next certification will be for version 17, which is the next long-term supported. Version 17 is expected somewhere this fall, so October, maybe November 2022. When we discuss about certifications, let's go a little bit further and start with the OCP, because again we started with the OCP. So we can see the exam price of the one without the 25 years promo is £194, which is probably somewhere around $250. The number of questions 50, passing score 68. The passing score and the number of questions is something that changes pretty often, so it's not something you should consider as very important, and 68 is in general a very low score, and my advice for you is aim for 80 plus, 85 plus, I would actually say. The certification is something that you obtain for yourself. In most of the cases it's only to test yourself. Is not something that you should expect it will wait a lot for a technical interview, for example, because this is something people tend to believe that if they have a certification and they can present it for a technical interview, that this will impact a lot the result of the technical interview. And the truth is that the certification actually doesn't wait a lot for the technical interview. It might wait actually for you attending at the technical interview. I mean being selected to attend for a technical interview in case, for example, you don't have studies in computer science, which most of the companies want you to have now if you apply for a software developer position. But say you don't have studies in computer science, then one of the good things to do is try to get to your certification, and that won't again help you a lot in the technical interview. I would say that in most decent companies it won't help you at all in terms of being the interviewers being influenced somehow about this piece of paper, but it might get your place on that chair in case you don't have studies in computer science, because I've seen a lot in the past people trying to reconvert from a specific other domain, and it's quite difficult to get accepted to attend the technical interview, because technical interviews are supported by developers, and developers' time cost a lot of money. So when you want someone to attend that, to act as an interviewer in a specific interview, then of course you don't want you want to save their time as much as possible. So that's why it happens that a lot of people not having experience in computer science at all, even though they might be good developers because they self-studied, they can't, it's very difficult for them to attend, to get a chance to attend to a technical interview. But the certification is one of the tricks that you can use to get your place in the technical interview, because if someone would say you have a certification, then it's easier to believe that you might have a chance to also pass the technical interview. But again, it's only for that, so don't expect that if you get this certification and don't know, you don't have the knowledge behind it, then it will help you in any way. It won't help you at all. And I'm afraid, and I really dislike to say the fact that I see more and more often today in for example interviews where I'm the interviewer, people pretending they have the OCP, somehow they get that paper, but when you ask them simple questions, they don't know. And of course that doesn't help anyone, because it actually doesn't save my time, it doesn't save their time, and they don't get employed, because if they don't know simple things, it's pretty clear for me that they didn't actually get the certification through their self-study. So never do that. I'm not sure how can someone get this certification without learning for it themselves, but I think it's possible, because I've seen a lot of people, especially since this pandemic situation where a lot of certifications could be attended from home. The certification exams could be taken from home. Probably people find ways in which they can get the certification and try to cheat. But again, it doesn't help, because in a technical interview, most of the decent companies won't actually care too much about you having the certification. And if in the technical interview you don't do well, which is of course very possible if you cheated for the certification, then you won't get the job anyway. So you only lose money and time of yours and others. The idea is, again, it was 20 days, and 20 days is not enough. So if you didn't start studying, if you learn for 20 days and maybe pass the exam with a 70, which is a passing score in this case, a 70, at least for my soul, wouldn't be satisfying. I prefer an 85 plus. In general, I prefer to have a 90 plus. In all my exams, I generally got over 90%. But the idea is I'm studying to get score as high as possible and not to pass the certification. So my my purpose when I go to certification is not to pass the certification, is to get the highest score possible, and I always aim to get something over 85. I always treat the certifications as a way to test myself, and it has most of the value it has is for myself. Then I always aim to get the highest score possible, and I wouldn't be satisfied with a 70, for example, even though that would mean I've passed the certification. Other thing you would see is that it's possible as well to attend the OCP 8 exam, and you have the OCA. In case of version 8 of Java, you have the OCA and the OCP, so you have 2 exams that you should attend to get the OCP certification. I do not recommend you go for the 8. I do not recommend you go for the 8 because now you see it's about a half of years until we will have Java 17, which is the next long-term supported version. So at the moment Java 17 will be there on the market, generally available. You can consider that Java 11 is already a past. And yeah, I know that there are still a lot of applications using Java 8 out there and still focusing on upgrading. But in terms of knowledge, don't forget that Java is a cumulative, which means that Java 11 contains also what you've learned for 8. So things don't change. They are as much as possible backwards compatible as well. So when you pretend you have an 8, it doesn't mean you know things for 11 or 17, which will be the next version. If you have the 11, then you can pretend you also know what concerns Java 8. So that's why if I were you, I would also aim for the latest version of certification I could get, and not think about the previous one. I'm not actually even sure why it's possible, but it was always like that, what's possible. And I think it's even possible to go for Java 6 if you really want, but it makes no sense. So the idea is, at least in my experience, go for the latest certification version, especially now that getting the Oracle Certified Professional 11 only means passing one exam, 50 questions, 70%, and you got the certification. So it's not like in the past times when you had to pass 2 exams. You first had to get the OCA, and then you had to go for the OCP to get the certification. And now fortunately they changed this, which means half the price to get the same certification, and you only have to attend one exam, which is great. So go for 11. What's my recommendations in terms of studying for this Oracle Certified Professional? There are 2 books out there I really like. The one on the right side, which is the one from Jane and Scott, the OCP Oracle Certified Professional for Java 11 Developer Complete Study Guide, is I could say my favorite. So I do recommend you the books from Jane and Scott. They are the books I've always used to learn for my OCP certification. It's very well explained, and it's as much complete as possible. And by that I want to say that you won't find any book to give you all the possible things you could find in the certification. That wouldn't be possible. But it's complete in terms of you understand most of the topics, and then of course it's still a bit of self-study that you have to do yourself by reading also the Java references, as I will recommend you, and mock exams, which is the next thing I will discuss. On the left side you have a new book. I recently took it and read it, and the book is excellent. So I would recommend these 2 books as a combination. The idea, the perspective in which you will find the same topics explained, with one consideration. The book on the left side, it's only covering half of the topics for the exam. So you see, it was designed to cover the 815, 1Z0 and 815. This is what was prior known as OCA. because for Java 11 we still had OCA and OCP, and then they merged into only one exam about maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I don't remember precisely the time, but it was something about that. When you will read the book on the left, this book on the left, it's a little bit more detailed, but designed also for only for half of the first part. So what I would do, I would start with the one from Mala, and then I would read the full book. And this is again a book, you should have it on your bookshelf. By the way, both Jane and Mala are Java champions. You can consider they pretty well known what they write there. So you get these books, and then I will tell you what to do next with the mock exams. But first, you get these books, you read these books. Once you've read the books, the next thing I would do, and what I'm telling you also what I would do, but when I say what I would do, it's actually what I also did in the past when I was learning for my exam, is go and check the references, the Java specifications. So the Java specifications is a long PDF, more than 700 pages. The idea is that it gives you a lot of more details. You don't have to study it, however. When I say read the specifications, you don't have to actually learn as you do from the books. You just have to read it so that your brain will always work. When you read that, it will remember something, and that something will be iteratively cumulated with what you will learn further with the mock exam. So I have a question. What about the Oracle material from Mr. Strelnikov? I don't know that material, sorry. Oh, if it's the Oracle book, if it's that Oracle, that red Oracle book, I hate it. Sorry for that, guys. I don't like the book. So it's that large book that's the official Oracle study for certification. I had that once. I tried to read it. I don't like it. So it's my personal opinion, but I hope you respect my opinion. It's not a book I liked. So in my opinion, these two books you see here, and I would say especially I would especially stress the one on the right side from Jane, because that's the one I used for years. Of course, it was continuously upgraded with new editions. The one on the left side from Mala is still an early access, so I can't say I had the chance to use it actually for this. I only read it and I share my opinion, but the whole idea is my favorite is still the one on the right. You read the books, then you got the Java PDF certification. You read that PDF itself from the first to the last page without trying to study it, without trying to remember something from it. You just read it. So trust me, it works. Trust me, it works. You just read it. These two books, you study them. It's a difference between studying something, studying a material, and reading a material. So when you study a material, you take it and you try to remember. When you read something, you don't try to remember, but your brain will remember something out of it. There is a new Oracle course available by Oracle University. No, I don't know it. Again, I only know that big book with a lot of number of pages with a white and red cover was itself as well. And that one is something I don't recommend. At least it wasn't for me. The one you are discussing about, this new one from Mr. Strelnikov, I might have not read it. I'm not sure it's the same material. I can only refer to books that I have read myself and used myself. Now, what's the next thing? No, you don't go to the exam yet. So it's mandatory. It's absolutely mandatory. You exercise your skills using mock exams. And the best mock exams I know are the end-to-end mock exams. So they are very cheap. It's only $10, the full package. I can't remember precisely, but it's something like 7, 8, or even 9 exams. Plenty of them and plenty of questions. So with 9 exams or 8 exams, you get to an over 85% score in the exam up front without any question. But you should also know how to study them. So I will now share you the hints of how to study with the mock exams, because this is where I find my students, plenty of my students, good students actually, but they don't get it well on how to use the mock exams, and sometimes it even happens that they finish their mock exams and they don't know enough yet, and they attend the certification, and they either get a small score, or they even fail the certification. So I would like to tell you what you should be aware of in terms of using the mock exams. I also opened the Entware page here. It's pretty easy. You just go to entware.com and then you select your exam. They offer for plenty of the exams. Some of them are discontinued. I will discuss them in this series as well. For example, all these 4, they are discontinued. They were part of the Oracle Certified Expert series. I actually have some of them. I actually have these 3 myself. I actually have the first 2 and the last one, the web services. I never attended that one. I will tell you my opinion on this at the very end. Oracle Certified Professional, so you can just go and say Java SE 1Z0 819, and this is your exam. So it actually says 20 mock exams. I didn't know they have so many. When I last time some years ago upgraded my certifications, they only had about 9, so it was still enough. And for $10 it's basically for nothing. These are basically, in terms of quality of the questions, the best. They are a little bit more difficult than the real exam questions, which is good, because in my experience, if you get something like 80% of at the Entware mock exams, then you get 90 something in the real one. So that's very good. It's better than the other way around. What are the tricks of learning for a certification with mock exams? The trick is never consider the score you get the second time you use the same exam. So say you've learned, as I told you, from these 2 books, and then you also read the PDF. The next thing you do, you buy the Entware exams and you start with the first exam. And you start with the first exam, and trust me, if you never tried a certification before, then the biggest chance is that you get a 50 or less. So it doesn't really matter. The idea is you get a low score. So you would say, oh my God, even if you are maybe a senior developer. So you could be a senior developer. I promise you, I've seen people they're using Java for more than 10 years, and it's still the same thing, because the questions, it's not only a thing of knowing Java itself and the details, it's also a thing of knowing how to read the questions. So the mock exams are really valuable from this point of view. So I bought these mock exams as well. I'm trying to do the exam per chapter. Is that a good idea? Excellent question. So I actually don't recommend that. I don't recommend the exams per chapter, and I will explain. Now I'm actually explaining why. So the idea is you start with the first exam. My recommendation is always take the exams as they are real. So in the tool from Entware, you have 2 possibilities. You have the possibility of getting them per chapter, per topic, or you have the possibility to take them shuffled like it is in the real exam. And the idea is always take them shuffled. And always take them shuffled after you learned first. So you studied the full book, not 1 chapter, 1 topic. You studied the full book, and when you study the full book, the next thing you read the PDF from the specifications, and then you start with the first exam. And then the first exam you will get say a 50. And I was telling you, don't worry. So don't worry, you get a 40, a 30. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you get a very, very, very small score. The idea is that this score will increase with the time. A lot of people make the mistake. First of all, they see they got a 30 and they say, oh my God, this is not possible. I actually know a lot of Java, so how could I only get a 30? Something is wrong. Maybe I was tired, and that's why I took such a small score. They go to the second one, and they attend the second one, and guess what? They also get a 30 or 40 there as well, because there's nothing wrong with the exams and nothing wrong with them. Is the idea that when you learn for a certification, you not only learn the language or the technology itself that you are learning, that you want to attend the certification for and the exam for, but you are actually one of the things you learn is how those questions work. So never get upset that you took the first exam and you failed. At that time, the next thing you do, you review all the questions. And when I say all the questions, I literally mean all the questions. So those where you did well, but also those where you didn't do well. Some of the people, some people make the mistake of only reviewing the questions where they failed, where the questions where they didn't correctly answer. But that's not a good way of practicing. So the best way of practicing is reading all the questions, including those where you answered correctly. So there, somewhere in your brain, it sticks. And that will help you remember the similar topic in the next mock exams and then finally in your exam. Why I don't recommend them per chapter? I don't recommend them per chapter because when you take them per chapter, the same questions, you are consuming questions. The same questions you will get then when you try to use the mock exams overall. The questions are no different. It's a bank of questions, and the exams are either arranged by chapter or by topic, or they are shuffled like in the real exam. And then if you take them by chapter, what happens is that you would like them to test yourself and say, I'd like to see, am I actually ready? Because you never actually used an exam, a real exam, or at least a mock exam that looks real. And you will try the first exam, say, or one of the exams that where you get them shuffled, and you will get a score, and you might get 90. I don't know. You might get a very, very big score. But the problem is that you actually don't know if that score is really the one you would have taken, because your brain, even though you might not, you might think it doesn't happen, but your brain will remember questions and answers, and it's very possible that you answer a lot of the questions just because you previously known them, and then you will get a very high score. But that's a mirage, because you actually didn't answer the questions for the first time. And because of that, you might get a 90 then, and you say, oh, well, I'm prepared, I'll get a very high score in the certification. Then you go to the certification and you fail. And I've seen that happening. So my advice is, and that's what I was basically starting with, these exams and the questions in the bank have value only the first time you see them. They don't have any value the second time. If you retake the same exam, it doesn't matter what a score you get. You might get 100%. It doesn't matter. So then how do you study? What's the best way to study for the exam? You take the first exam, you get that 40%, you fail, doesn't matter, it's a mock exam. That's why they are, to fail first and see that you've learned and what you've learned. And then the tool from Entware nicely shows you which are the topics where you did better and which are the topics where you didn't do well. You read all the questions again, try to understand why did you wrongly answer. You go back to the books. Yes, I know it's a lot of study, but that's how it goes. I'm sorry for giving you the bad news, but if you really want to learn well for the certification, this is the way to go. You go back to the books, you read the topics again, and then you go back to the mock exams, you get the next mock exam. And what will happen if you followed these steps is that in the second mock exam, you will get a little bit more. It might be only a 5% more. Don't be disappointed. If you have 20 mock exams, even if you have a 3% more, you will still get to an over 80% in the end. So you try the second mock exam, you take a score that is a little bit bigger and you repeat the same practice. You read all the questions, you see which are the topics where you failed, you go back to the books, you read them again. Sometimes it's good to also check in the specifications. The explanations of the questions and answers in the end-to-end mock exams, they also refer sometimes to specific chapters and sections from the specifications. So you should go to them when the explanation says, I know this is chapter 7, section 2 from the specifications, go there, read that as well. Then you go back, mock exam number 3, read them again, go back, mock exam number 4, and so on and so forth. And little by little, your score will increase and you will learn Java well. When you attend the certification, it's very sure that you will get a very high score. So the problem is to find the exact content of the new Java 11 exam, which was created a few months ago. I'm not sure if Jane and Scott book match exactly this certification. It's written for 1Z0815. So I would say no worries. I doubt that the new exam will have a lot of differences from what it meant previously, the other two exams. It was a merge for sure. So I don't think the topics changed a lot. I actually don't think they changed at all. So if you will take the books and the end-to-end mock exams and study as I told you, I guarantee you will get a high score. So it's not a new exam. The new OCP 819 is not a new exam. It's a merge between what was previously the OCA and the OCP. If you trust me, study like that, you will get a high score and you will also learn what's important to learn. The certification is to test yourself, to test that you've learned some specific topics. Never be fooled by the fact that they will help you in a technical interview. In a technical interview, you will be again asked. If you learn the way I told you now, if you use this practice, then you will for sure not only get a certification, but you will nail any technical interview. So it's impossible then to fail for any technical interview, at least for the part that's concerning the fundamentals, because in technical interview, of course, it's depending on the role, you'll have many other questions. But what it takes, Java fundamentals, learning like this takes you maybe about 6 months in my experience. So yes, you won't take it in a couple of weeks, but it's the best practice to help you learn very well the topics.